that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 4 English lesson on capitalization. All right, so we are doing grade 4 English lesson, right, on capitalization. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts, grade 4, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of capitalization. All right, so we see that our chapter is capitalization. Our subject is English language arts, grade 4, and the lessons that we are focusing on under the chapter of capitalization is capitalize the names of places and geographical features, and to capitalize the names of historical events, periods, as well as documents. All right. So when it comes to capitalization, right, other than capitalizing the first word of a sentence, right, like meaning a sentence starts with a capital letter and it ends with a period, right, or it starts with an end mark. So instead of just capitalizing the first word of a sentence, right, there are quite a few words that we need to capitalize. In a previous lesson, we said names of people, places, names of people, and pets needs to be capitalized. And we also capitalize days of the week and months of the year. All right. So when it comes to capitalization, we said capitalizing, we need to capitalize the names of places because we've already in our previous lesson capitalized names of people, names of pets, days of the week, months of the year, because those are also important, right? So now we need to capitalize the names of places. So we need to capitalize names of places, right? So when we capitalize names of places, right, it's the same as in our previous lesson where we said months of the year, days of the week, and names of places. So names of places, right? We need to capitalize places, and the places can either be cities, states, countries, or continents, right? And when we try to capitalize names of places, right? Then remember, if you write down the name of your street name, you write down the street name, the city that you live in, the code, let's say the postal code, or okay, not even that specifically, but like basically the name of your street, and then, for example, the name of your school that you're currently at, right? So that is also names of places. So we need to capitalize names of places. We said it can either be cities, a state, countries, or continents, right? Then places built by people, such as buildings, bridges, streets, and monuments, right? An example is London High School. And then we have Golden Gate Bridge. All right. So if you were to, for example, write down, let's say, your address, right? And you were to write down the name of your street, the suburb that you live in, the city or state, right? How would you write it? All right. So if we look at specific cities, right, we can say it is London, New York, it can be North Dakota, Mexico, Africa, New Mexico, it can be Asia, Africa, right? Those are all words that needs to be capitalized. Capitalize the names of that places. And then we also have names of places, right? But it is built by people. All right. So remember, even the name of your school, if you just say that I go to the school or I go to school, then that the name of the school, let's say the word school, is written in lower cases. But as soon as you say the name of the school, then we need to capitalize it because now it is becoming it's a proper noun, right? So places that's built by people, such as buildings, bridges, streets, and monuments. All right. Then we also have geographical features, right? And geographical features such as bodies of water, monuments, deserts, and forests. All right. So when it comes to geographical features and bodies of water, remember geographical features are not stuff that man built, right? These are things that has been there for years and years, all right? Because it has become such a feature, right? That people come to see, that people want to know of. So geographical features such as bodies of water, which is your streams, your lakes, right? Your rivers, mountains, deserts, and forests. And if we look at examples of that, we can say the Nile River and Mount Everest, because those are geographical features. All right. And if we look at geographical features, right, then we have the Nile River, and then we have Mount Everest, right? So those are but two of our monuments, right? Then we say do not capitalize the words that are words like or if, right? Or the words the, unless it is the start of a sentence. Unless it's the first of the sentence, but we are not going to underline or write it in bold. All right. Then you also have forests, right? So this is then a continuation on capitalization, and like I said in our previous lesson, we did capitalizing names of pets, names of places. All right. So now we're going on to a+students.ca, and once we go to a+students.ca with our username as well as our password. All right, so we see that we have our geographical features, right? And we do not capitalize, let's say, words like the or of unless it is the start of a sentence. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and then we're going to our lesson, which is capitalizing the names of places and geographical features. So we need to capitalize the names of places, and we made a few examples of London, North Dakota, Mexico, Africa. And if we capitalized places that is built by people, such as buildings, bridges, streets, and monuments, and we can say Lebanon High School, Golden Gate Bridge, Washington Monument, right? Then we have our geographical features. And our geographical features such as bodies of water, which is your rivers, your lakes, water, mountains, deserts, and forests. So these are also, it's more like significant buildings, significant places, right? So it says here, click to correct the capitalization if needed. If the sentence is already counted, then don't make any changes. All right. So now if we look at the words that are in bold, right, or in blue, it says click the correct capitalization if needed. All right. So it says Michelle's family traveled to Shenandoah Mountains last year. What is the word that we have identified? All right. And if we were to if we were to select the geographical word or monument, then we would say Shenandoah Mountain, right? So the family traveled to Shenandoah Mountain. All right. It says the Capitol building houses one branch for our national government. All right, so the Capitol building houses one branch of our national government. It says we need to click the correct capitalization if needed. If the sentence is already correct, then don't make any changes. So now we say the Capitol building houses one branch of our national government. All right, so they say we need to click the correct capitalization if needed. So the Capitol building, right? So the Capitol building houses one branch of the national government, right? So capital, and if we look at the word that they have underlined or identified, is Capitol building. But then the word capital also needs to be written with capital letters. So capital needs to be capitalized. All right. So remember when it comes to features, geographical features, monuments, right? Then these are all more of, yes, we're showing it to the public, but it's more of a sacred thing, right? Because bridges, it takes skills to build. But they specifically why they're making mention of these is because, all right, so we already see that capital building needs to be capitalized, right? Even here, if we look at this word Grand Canyon, then the word grand also needs to be capitalized. Grand Canyon. So GRAND needs to be capitalized. Canyon. All right. All right. So now let's go to our test. So we need to click to correct the capitalization if needed, right? It says the fraternity bridge celebrates the friendship between Brazil and Argentina. Yes. So it says the fraternity bridge celebrates the friendship between Brazil and Argentina. And if we were to choose the correct one, option two is correct. So well done. Because it's a geographical event or geographical feature. Click to capitalize if needed. Julie went to have a fund more. So have a foot more. Is it option one or option two? All right. So remember, we're still talking about capitalization, geographical features. Remember, we said geographical features are things that stands out within a community, within a city, within a country, right? And even like malls, right? Names of places. And here we say Julie went to Haverford Mall. And if we were to choose the correct option, yes, we'll choose the second one, right? Because mall needs to be capitalized. So the word mall needs to also be capitalized. Our national government is based in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Is it the first option, Washington, D.C., or the second option, Washington, D.C.? So our national government is based in Washington, D.C. Is it the first option or the second option? And if we were to select the capitalization, right, or the correct spelling or of the word, and then we would say it's Washington, D.C., option two. And the continent of Africa is much larger than it looks on most maps. So, Africa, do we write it like option one or option two? Africa. And if we were to correct Africa, right, and then we will write it with a capital letter. Capital letter A for Africa. All right, well done. So we're also capitalizing the names of historical events, periods, and even documents, right? And when we capitalize periods, historical events, or documents, right? Then, for example, we can capitalize names of historical events, periods, and documents. For example, Battle of the Bunker Hill. There we have Renaissance and Magda Carter. And do not capitalize words like the or of, right? Remember, we said articles as well as prepositions we do not capitalize, right? Unless it is the first word of a sentence. For example, also the Declaration of Independence, right? Which means that the Declaration of Independence, yes, it is one of the important documents, right? Or historical documents, however, it needs to be written as the way we see it, right? The Union and Soviet Union is what's more important that to stand out, and that is why it is written the way it is written. So yeah, it says American code breakers helped figure out where the Battle of Midway would happen. Battle of Midway. Are we going to write it as is, or do we have to change this word a bit when it comes to capitalizing? All right. So if we were to write the Battle of Midway, and then it is capital letter B for battle. Of stays lower cases, and then Midway is capitalized. All right, so now let's go to the second one and then we'll go to our test. The Vietnam War lasted about 20 years. The Vietnam War lasted about 20 years, right? And if we need to correctly capitalize Vietnam War. And if we correctly capitalize the Vietnam War, then it's going to be capitalize V for Vietnam, capitalize W for war, right? Now we're going on to our test, where we're going to click to correct the capitalization if needed, right? The Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free all enslaved people. How are we going to write that word? Emancipation Proclamation. It says it did not free all enslaved people. All right, so it says the Emancipation Proclamation did not free all enslaved people. How are we going to write that word correctly? Is it like option one, where it stays the same the way it's written over there, or option two, proclamation is also going to be capitalized? Emancipation Proclamation. It says it did not free all enslaved people. All right. So if we were to correctly write that word emancipation proclamation, then it would be both capitalized, right? And that is, it was an issue that was given by the US President Abraham Lincoln on January 1, 1863. All right. Some copies of the Code of Hammurabi were carved into stone over 3,700 years ago. How are we going to write this word? Code of Hammurabi. Is it like option one or option two? All right, and if we were to select the correct capitalization, then we will go with option two for Code of Hammurabi. At the Boston Tea Party, angry colonists threw tea into the harbor. All right, so the Boston Tea Party. So at the Boston Tea Party, angry colonists threw tea into the harbor. Right? So is it option one for Boston Tea Party or option two? So at the Boston Tea Party, years. Yes, it is option two. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on capitalizing names of places and geographical features, as well as capitalizing the names of historical events, periods, and documents. And when we capitalize all those important places and documents, it needs to be capitalized. We capitalize the first words of that sentence, and that is just to place emphasis on the importance of the documents, of the periods, of the events, right? All right, so that is the end of our lesson. Should have a good evening further, grade fours. Until next time, have a good weekend further. Goodbye.